Hello, everyone. My name's Garrett with Geisinger Health and Wellness. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. This topic will be going over maintaining energy. Now, a disclaimer here, this information is provided to increase your awareness. It is not intended to be medical advice. If you believe that you may have any medical conditions or have specific questions regarding your health, please see your physician. Now, have you ever experienced the 2 p.m. crash where you feel completely drained and ready for a long nap? Maybe you've turned to energy drinks or another cup of coffee or even sweets. Today, we're going to discuss why that happens and how a proper diet and lifestyle can prevent low energy and its symptoms. We hope you leave today's session with a better understanding of how energy is used in our bodies, as well as how to have a more balanced and healthy diet to prevent midday crashes and bumps. Now, energy is the capacity to do work. In biologic systems, it's usually measured in kilocalories. Now, 1 kilocalorie is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water from 1 degree Celsius at a standard atmospheric pressure. And now we're going to move on to how our body makes energy. Now, our body uses ATP, which is often called the energy currency of the cell because it provides energy that can be easily released. It stores and transfers energy in the cells. Now, think of ATP as the gas in your car. Without it, the engine cannot run. In our bodies, without ATP, we don't have a source of energy. And ATP breaks its bonds and becomes ADP. Over time, the body recycles ADP to become ATP for use. Now, how this works is through digestion, food is broken down into smaller molecules like glucose in the digestive system, which are then absorbed into the bloodstream. And then the bloodstream transports glucose through the bloodstream to individual cells. And then for cellular uptake, insulin, a hormone, helps glucose enter the cells. And then through glycolysis in the cells, glucose is further broken down into pyruvate through a series of chemical reactions. And this moves into the Krebs cycle, or also known as the citric acid cycle. And then pyruvate enters the mitochondria, where it is further oxidized, generating energy carriers like NADH and FADH2. Next is oxidative phosphorylation. The energy carriers from the Krebs cycle are used to produce ATP through a process on the mitochondrial membrane. And last, lipid metabolism. Triglycerides are broken into a glycol and fatty acids, then transported throughout the body and further broken down into through lipolysis, beta oxidation, and then the Krebs cycle again. Now, moving on, going more in depth into calories. A calorie is a unit of energy. In nutrition, a calorie refers to the energy people get from the food and drink that they consume. We use and burn calories both at rest, just from use of energy to breathe, digest our own food, and we also use them when we exercise. Now, some people may think, are calories bad? No, they are essential for human health. Our brains, our muscles, every cell in our body require energy to function in its optimal state. The key is consuming the right amount, finding a balance between the energy in and the energy out. The total number of calories a person needs a day varies depending on the number of factors, including the person's age, sex, height, weight, and level of physical activity. In addition, a need to lose, maintain, or gain weight and other factors affect how many calories should be consumed. Calorie needs are highly individualized from person to person. Predictive equations typically used to estimate an individual's calories needs the three macronutrient it needs the three macronutrients that are not equal in the number of calories they provide, and that equates to, for carbs, it's 4 calories per gram. Protein's also 4 calories per gram, and fat is 9 calories per gram. Now moving on, why are macronutrients important? Now first, we're going to focus on carbs, as these are the main source of energy for the body and are linked to low energy causes in which we will discuss. Now, carbohydrates are your body's primary fuel source. The two main types are simple and complex carbs. Simple carbs are broken down into sugar quickly, sending immediate bursts of energy into the bloodstream. Examples include fruits, dairy products, soft drinks, baked goods, juice, and candy. Complex carbs take longer to digest, and they are a more stable source of energy. They also provide fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Whole grain bread, rice, pasta, beans, legumes, and vegetables are complex carbs. Now, the daily recommended calories from carbohydrates should be around 45 to 65% of your total caloric intake for the day. And it helps provide the body with energy, helps prevent disease, and allow the body to function properly. It's available in many food sources, and the amount of each macronutrient a person needs varies based on factors such as weight, age, and pre-existing health conditions. Now, carbs are not the enemy, as many people seem to think. Carbs don't make you fat, but they are easy to overconsume as they are calorically dense. Now, to go more in depth on the two types of carbohydrates, for complex carbs, it packs in more nutrients like the fiber, the vitamins, and the minerals. It also digests more slowly, so they are more filling. For example, brown rice, whole grain bread, and beans. Now, some simple carbs, you can think of that more or less as sugar. Simple carbs are refined, removes the bran and the germ, but removes B vitamins, iron, and fiber in the process. And bran is the outer shell, which has fiber, and the germ has B vitamins and antioxidants. Some are found naturally in some foods like the sugar in milk, but most are added to foods. And they provide a quick source of energy. For example, soda, donuts, other processed things like that. And a rule of thumb is to think about the more complex the carbohydrate, the better. Now moving into this, we're going to talk about hypoglycemia. All day long, your blood sugar levels go up and down. If the sugar or glucose levels in your blood are too low, you can sometimes get a condition called hypoglycemia. Reactive hypoglycemia is when you have low blood sugar within 2 to 4 hours after eating. Doctors don't know exactly what causes it, but they think it happens when you have a sudden spike in blood sugar after eating simple carbohydrates, such as white rice, white bread, or cakes. This might trigger your body to make too much insulin, causing a rapid fall in blood sugar. Other possible causes include having prediabetes or being more likely to have diabetes, maybe some sort of stomach surgery like a gastric bypass, rare enzyme defects, and usually this type of low blood sugar gets better on its own, but to speed up the process, you can try eating more carbohydrates. Now, here are some typical symptoms of reactive hypoglycemia. The answer as to why this happens isn't always clear, but it's likely the result of your body making too much insulin after a large carb-heavy meal. Scientists aren't sure why, but sometimes your body continues to release extra insulin even after you've digested your meal. This added insulin makes your blood glucose level drop below normal. The symptoms of reactive hypoglycemia generally start within 4 hours after a meal, and they include these symptoms shown on the screen. Now, to prevent reactive hypoglycemia, most people don't need medical treatment to manage reactive hypoglycemia. Instead, there are changes you can make at home. Often changing your diet can help improve your symptoms. Next, we're going to move on to helping you build a sustainable diet. Meal timing and the type of food we eat largely impacts our ability to maintain our energy levels. If we go too long with any calories, we experience a significant drop in our blood sugar, resulting in symptoms previously listed. Consuming calories before these symptoms appear is critical, as well as the types of food we choose. Choose fruits, vegetables, grains, dairy, and protein foods to get the most nutrition and meet your personal calorie needs. Aim for a variety of foods and beverages from each food group. Everything you eat and drink matters. Make sure to read labels and monitor portion sizes. And last, stay hydrated with water. Avoid overusing caffeine. This prevents consuming excess added sugar, which may result in a blood sugar crash. Next, moving on to caffeine. Now, caffeine is a natural chemical with stimulant effects, and it is often found in coffee, tea, soda, cocoa, guarana, yerba mate, and over 60 other products. And caffeine helps stimulate your central nervous system, which increases alertness and gives you an increase of energy. Both coffee and tea are linked to a host of health benefits, including reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, lower risk of type 2 diabetes, and improved longevity. When taken by mouth, caffeine is usually safe for most healthy adults when used in doses up to 400 milligrams daily. This is about the equivalent to 4 cups of coffee. Now, depending on factors such as body weight, medications you may take, certain medical conditions, and individual sensitivity, too much can vary from person to person. And make sure to be aware of the level of caffeine in your diet and look out for signs when it's too much. So, for an example, an 8-ounce cup of coffee can range from as little as 95 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. A 12-ounce can of soda can run from 35 to 45 milligrams. An 8-ounce energy drink can run from 70 to 100 milligrams of caffeine, and an 8-ounce cup of tea can be as little as 14 up to 60 milligrams of caffeine. Next, we're going to move on to some of the negative effects you can have from excessive use of caffeine. Now, these symptoms can last anywhere from hours to days unless you consume more caffeine. The more serious risks of caffeine are mostly related to heavy consumption from use in energy drinks and supplement form. Caffeine is possibly unsafe when used for a long time or in doses over 400 milligrams daily. When you stop using caffeine, you may experience some negative side effects, such as headaches, drowsiness, irritability, nausea, trouble concentrating. This is caffeine withdrawal. These symptoms can last anywhere from hours to days unless you consume more caffeine. Caffeine is likely unsafe when used in very high doses. It can cause an irregular heartbeat and, in extreme cases, even death. Products with very concentrated or pure caffeine have a high risk of being used in doses that are too high. Avoid using these products. Next, we're going to move on to sleep. Now, sleep deficiency is linked to chronic health issues such as heart and kidney disease, hypertension, diabetes, stroke, depression, and obesity. Now, some symptoms in adults can feel tired during the day, difficulty learning, focusing and reacting, difficulty with social interactions, mood changes such as anxiety, depression, grumpy. Now, some poor sleep can also cause decreases in attentiveness, interaction, immunity, mental and physical performance, motor coordination, reaction times, and reasoning. Now, tips for a good night's sleep. Make sure to avoid using stimulants as they increase alertness, such as caffeine and nicotine. Lying awake in bed will decrease your likelihood of falling asleep. Try reading or mindfulness to help assist. Naps will make you less tired in the evening when you're ready to go to bed, and you may stay up later than you'd like to. And eating before bed may cause GI discomfort, and a regular sleep schedule will allow your body to become familiar with a bedtime routine, aiding in falling asleep quicker and having a better quality of sleep. Being active will also increase the feeling of tiredness later in the day. And make sure to have a good sleep environment. Make sure it's cool, quiet, and dark. And some relaxation techniques that you can use is a hot bath before bed, meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, and aromatherapy. Now, some takeaways here. Practice effective stress management to improve many aspects of your health when we are stressed. It impacts our decision making. We are more likely to choose less healthy food options, like items with large amounts of added sugar. Preventing and managing our stress can help us make better choices down the road. Here are some resources for you to use, some references here, and any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to type them in the chat. We will get back to you, and we will hope you'll join us again soon, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Any questions, comments, or topic suggestions can be sent to wellness@geisinger.edu. My name's Garrett with Geisinger Health and Wellness, and this was this Wednesday's Wellness Wednesday topic.